All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. For joining us today for this session. Today's session is titled Developing Future Ready Employability Skills. And thanks everyone for having taken out time on a Saturday evening, spending some time with us today. We have a great bunch of speakers who are going to spend the next hour with you interacting and also having a very engaging conversation amongst themselves and giving us a lot of valuable information on how to develop future ready employability skills. With this, I'll quickly introduce everybody. Welcome on behalf of NIIT University. Today, our speakers are Seema. Seema, of course, is the talent acquisition lead from Entities Singapore. Seema has been in Singapore for the last 16 years, and she is well versed with the APAC market, hosts many talent acquisition programs, and has been in the technical space and was earlier working with IBM prior to this. And in today's topic, she will talk actively from the talent acquisition perspective of it about how to develop future ready employability skills. She'll be touching upon STEM programs, future ready technical and behavioral skills, and also touching upon remote working and gig employment work opportunities. Thank you, Seema, for joining us today.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Our second speaker today is Jiten Puri. Jiten is Director HR at Arab Media and is based out of Dubai. And he leads the human capital function at the Arab Media Group. And he has over 23 years of experience in different functions across industries. And he can connect with people at all levels, as you'll see during this conversation. Jiten has a background in consumer goods, telecom, banking, FMCG, and real estate. And with a mindset of learn and grow, Jiten likes to continue his journey as a lifelong student and is very, very fond of giving back to society as and when possible. Thank you so much, Jiten, for having joined us today. We also have Ashish Gakrey, who's the founder HR Shapers, who's our speaker and moderator for today's session. Ashish is founder of HR Shapers, and for many of us on the session today, he's a very well-known HR leader, a global speaker, globally connected, social media influencer, blogger, Gen Z expert, mentor, coach, and techie HR. So many, many hats that Ashish wears. Ashish has over 20 years of corporate diversified exposure from IT, ITES, telecom industry, and has worked across organizations like Capgemini, Teleperformance, Loop Mobile, Zycus, Grid Consultants, and Max Search. Ashish is also founder of MTHR Global, 18 years old HR association, and he was recently awarded by ETHR World as one of the top 10 HR influencers in the country. And of course, from NIIT University today, thank you so much. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Ashish, for joining us today. And it's wonderful having you as part of this session. So at NIIT University, we are thrilled to have Professor Prabhu Aggarwal here with us today. Prabhu Aggarwal is President and Vice Chancellor, NIIT University. And in a career spanning 3 decades, Professor Aggarwal has held various positions in the academia and industry. A bachelor's from IIT Kanpur and MBA and a PhD from University of Washington, Seattle. Professor Aggarwal started his academic career with Foster School of Business, University of Washington, and thereafter spent close to 20 years at the Mason School of Business, College of William and Mary, Williamsburg, Virginia, as a faculty and assistant dean. He's held that position of founding Vice Chancellor of OP Jindal University, Raigarh, from 2014 till 18, where he is credited with crafting the foundation and arches on which the institution stands today. Professor Aggarwal is an active teacher And as the founder president of EduServe Global Associates, provides consulting services and has also designed and delivered programs in executive education and management development across various sectors. Thank you so much, Professor Aggarwal, for representing us today. And we are indeed thrilled to have you on board. With this, I'd like to invite Professor Aggarwal to kickstart this session by giving a quick overview about what NIIT University represents and what's the vision and the mission of the university. And then we can dive head on into the conversation. Balendu, could you unmute Professor Aggarwal? Yes.
Thank you. Great. Can you all hear me? Am I audible? Okay, great. Thank you, Manisha, for that introduction. And again, thanks to our visitors and our guests, Seema and Jiten and Ashish on this panel. We are looking forward to a very interesting discussion. And on behalf of NIIT University, I really welcome you again. And I'm so happy that you took the time out from your Saturday evenings to join us. NIIT University, which we also like to call in short NU, was established in 2009 by the founders of NIIT Group, Mr. Vijay Tadani and Mr. Rajendra Pawar. And in 2009, when the university was established, it was established to be a role model university for the future. And I bring that up because I think the university has always been a little ahead of its time and had been thinking of doing things that at that time were probably ahead they were ahead of their times. And NIIT University essentially is built, NIIT University essentially is built upon 4 core principles. One, it is technology driven. Secondly, it has a research focus. Third, it boasts of what we call our industry linkages. And last but not least, it is the 4th core principle is of seamlessness. I just want to touch upon each one of them for a minute, not longer, because that will set the context of who we are and what we do. Technology is the backbone of NIIT University. Now, what I mean by that is technology, we have always focused on the tech sector, technology sector for our courses. So we have primarily offered programs that have a strong technology background, whether it's computer science. Again, within computer science, we have talked about artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, whether it's the business school where we have developed programs in data sciences, business analytics, and whether we are talking about biotechnology, we are talking about courses that are clearly technology oriented. Even our ECE program is mostly about robotics, automation, embedded systems, and the likes of that. So all our courses have a very, very strong technology focus. Also, technology in this COVID times has played a very vital role for us to keep us online and to keep us prepared. And we have been able to successfully migrate to a very inbuilt, robust online learning platform called NU Digital. So technology continues to be the backbone on which we are built. The second important core principle is research. For us, research is an important part of our teaching, learning, pedagogical approach in classes. And I think all our undergraduate students are encouraged to get into research from their first year itself. And we have had very interesting so-called outcomes of our research agenda, not just publications from our faculty, but we also look at research as innovation, entrepreneurship, and bringing ideas from the lab to the market. And we have had some 19 startups that have been incubated at NU. These are all because of our research focus. The third important piece is industry linkage. The NIIT Group and NIIT University and NU have developed over 700 plus industry partnerships. One of the core ideas is that all our students have to spend at least a semester, their last semester, on the job with an industry partner, which is mandatory. It's a course, it's a 20 credit course. It is not an internship, it's an industry job where students are actually given a stipend, and 75 to 80% of our student industry practices actually convert to a PPO. The outcome has been remarkable. We have had a 100% placement record since our inception. And we continue to follow that very rigorously. We also do a lot of work with our industry partners, and we co-develop master's and postgraduate diploma programs for them directly, where we co-create the syllabus and the curricula. So that's the third part. And seamlessness is for us a holistic approach to education where we see no boundaries between anything you can imagine, whether it's the student and the environment, the campus and its surroundings, multidisciplinary education, blending of activities, blending of humanities and social sciences classes. 31% of our curricula is choice-based, can be customized by the student. So all these things have kind of morphed into what NU today is. So NU today is a culmination of these four core principles, and it continues to build on these core principles. It keeps visiting these core principles, keeps validating whether these core principles remain valid or not remain valid. And everything that we are doing today and we will do in the foreseeable future will be built around these core principles that we just mentioned. I think that's NU in a nutshell for all of you. And NU now is offering about, NU is built on a 100-acre green campus on the foothills of the Agarwal in Nimrana, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive from New Delhi International Airport. It's a fully residential campus. We believe that learning happens 24/7. We don't have any day scholars. We currently have about 1,000 students on campus. We'll have 1,000 students on campus when we are allowed to welcome them back to campus. And that's pretty much, we have about 50 full-time faculty members and 20 visiting faculty members, both from industry and from our academic partners. Almost all of them, if not all, have PhDs from all the eminent universities and colleges from India and abroad. And that's NU for you. NU has a very robust placement and department that is constantly working with its students for, one of our very important things is to create employment ready or highly employable people. Because of our industry practice program, we believe our students are, the moment they enter the workforce, they are ready to work from day one, once they are confirmed on their job. So I think these are some of the things I wanted to highlight in my opening remarks here. And I'll be very, very keen to hear what my panelists have to say and add. I also spent 5 years at the Jindal Group as their chief learning officer. So I learned a lot on the other side of the, I was the customer to universities so I could see the other side of the equation. What are employers looking for in young talent? So that's been a very useful perspective. And I'm sure as we have a talent acquisition head, we have a group director HR here, and we have HR scapes. So I think that'll be an interesting conversation. And I'm remembering my times when I was the chief learning officer at JSPL Group for when I see you all here. So welcome again. Thank you very much. And I'm going to give the podium to, I guess, Ashish now.
Okay, I'm just doing audio check. Hope I'm
Yes.
audible. Great. So thank you, Professor Prabhu. Nice to know about your background, and you are from HR, so you will relate each and every conversation. We will keep asking you many questions. In addition to obviously Jiten and Seema will contribute. So welcome everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. That's what the we will be talking about. Not only one statement, which is good morning, only in good morning, because this is what the beauty of virtual meeting. Like Jiten joining all the way from Dubai, which is afternoon for him. Seema joining all the way from Singapore, which is late evening for us. And then we are in India right now, which is evening for all of us. Topic is very common. We have been talking about it. Many of us must be hearing, but what is the most important thing is needed in today's scenario is how do we keep refreshing ourselves? Okay, human being is a habit of forgetting and losing out many of the things. Sometimes we don't remember the basics, so we need to touch upon the basic. How do we develop ourselves for the future ready skills? Okay, and this is all-time favorite, especially for the people, those who are in university, student, faculties, professor, and all. How they can come up with the something as a capability building, which they can share with the student and leaders of tomorrow. We have very good two HR leader from a different countries. They will be sharing interesting perspective on this. How do we develop ourselves? Introduction is already done for Jiten and Seema. So the agenda for the next, if I'm not wrong, agenda for the next 40-45 minutes or more than 1 hour is speaker will give the overview on the topic, which will 5 to 7 minutes. Just take care of the timing. My request to both of you and Professor Prabhu also. So first is overview from each one of you. Then we'll have question answer session, and then in the end we will have 15 minutes for open Q&A. So that's how we are going to work. There is so much talk about it. How do we develop ourselves in the COVID? Most of the skill set, most of the capability will remain the same, but yes, there are various changes. Like in the today scenario, we need to ensure how do we virtually or digital prepared ourselves, whether to talk, whether to hear, whether to present anything. Okay, I will talk less right now, but yeah, there are a lot of tips I will keep giving in between. So let me start with the ladies first always. So here is the Seema all the way joining from Singapore. So Seema, 5 to 7 minutes for overview.
Thank you very much, Ashish, and thanks for the wonderful introduction and giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge on this platform. What I will be sharing is mainly about what is the trend these days and what is expected in our near future. So without further ado, I will start off with first the STEM program. So I'm touching upon this topic because this has widely picked up. We initially started off with this program at IBM. When I was back with IBM, we started this initiative wherein we wanted more diversity within the group and our culture of our organization. So what we have done is we have initiated the STEM program right from the universities that we were hiring in. And of course, STEM basically stands for science, technology, engineering, and management area. What we were definitely interested in was technology and the engineering space. And we gave an opportunity for the students to come and intern with us and learn different platforms within the technology and the engineering scope. We started off with sales engineers. We also started off with inside sales engineers, wherein we could teach them the products that we were catering to. And mainly there was a major product in the market that was launched, which was a Watson's healthcare product, which is a #1 analytics product that is widely used in today's market. So I will not go too deep into it, but this is one area wherein a lot of investment has been done from the corporate components to look into this for initiating the diversity and the cultural initiative from their organization. Secondly, I will also like to touch upon the behavioral and the emotional quotient, which we always find lacking in the students who have the technology focus. We have been looking at a lot of, we put a lot of emphasis on technology and how the person either codes or basically, what the person can bring into the table. But at the same time, we forget the second component of what needs to be developed is more from the behavioral aspect, more from the communication skills, more from looking at how the person interacts as a team player, how the person communicates overall, and how he builds an integrity within the team. Again, there are multiple aspects to this initiative. And of course, there is a lot of employability skills component that goes into this. So, of course, from a communication perspective, we look into facets like how the person is speaking, listening, reading independently, or also been able to understand or communicate with their peers. A lot of companies these days are also doing a predictive analysis in terms of looking at how the person will, or how the person's personality is, and how the learning capabilities of the person is before bringing the person onto the job. So there are various tasks like written tasks to do presentations, also do simulations, demonstrations on certain areas. This is something which I will actively ask you all to look into it, because a lot of times we find that person is hesitating or doesn't have the capability. Might have the right skill sets to do the role, but at the same time, interacting with other people, blogging, or even having virtual discussions really helps them to communicate well. Next, I would like to talk about is teamwork. Teamwork mainly has various facets to it, right from working with diverse team members from different cultural ethnicity. So particularly in Singapore, a lot of people come from different diverse portfolios or different diverse groups, or even from global organizations with different race and color. Now, it is very important to practice inclusivity, and working in groups is very, very important. So what students could also look at is working in their own core groups, or looking at coaching and mentoring skills within their groups or their interest groups rather. What would happen is they would go ahead and more from a learning activity perspective, go ahead, have role plays, have group discussions, have some simulations within, or even gaming these days, which is very prominent in cohesiveness, and scenario-based questions can be done virtually. So definitely a lot of brainstorming, a lot of cohesiveness, and a lot of that builds a lot of teamwork. In the millennials these days, I've seen a lot of them like to rather be behind their individual gadgets, but relationship building really helps you to come a long way. Okay, next I would like to touch upon is the problem solving skills. So right from developing creative, innovative, and practical solutions, that is a step that should be taken towards showing independence and building the initiative in identifying and solving problems. So again, I would suggest to have certain interest groups, have projects and research that you can do on certain topics. If your particular interest group is in, say, data analysis, then take a certain data, um, work together, have brainstorming activities, and see how that can be done better. So that really works towards your problem solving skills. There is another component which is a very important component of your behavioral skills, which is in planning and organizing. These days, managing time and your priorities are utmost important. Making decisions around identifying achievable goals and collecting, analyzing, organizing information is very critical part of any role that you take up. So there are different workshops or part-time courses that you could go for and use this time wherein you're in a lockdown or you're virtually, you can attend these workshops to build your predictive or identifying the risk analysis area. This would definitely improve your time management activities. You could do more web-based research. You could also do data collection and developing action plans, how to basically plan and organize your data correctly. Ashish, do I have time?
Okay, we can, in case.
Yeah, I can continue more, and I can touch upon these topics a little bit more in detail once it gets to more. I don't want to bore the people by.
So Seema, thanks for initial input and good opening remark. Yes, you can cover, during the Q&A session, also touch upon those things, which you wanted to. And so thanks, Seema. Like you talk about, all this creativity. I'm sure there are a lot of students on the call, on the session, and we keep talking about the job losses. So don't worry about the job losses, because, at the same time, there are many jobs being created as well. There are new roles which are being coming up. We need to think from those point of view. I'm just touching on the job losses because, there is always one statement as far as the student is concerned. And we have seen, okay, campus being recruited, but not happening now. What will happen in future? What about the internship and all? Many things are still the same. There are many companies who are still recruiting. While I was talking to Monisha, okay, what topic we should touch upon? We should touch upon the same topic, because there are a lot of refresher courses needed, especially on such topic. So thanks, Monisha, for creating this platform to share the thought. And now, before I go to Jiten, I just like to touch upon one thing, because NIIT especially is very recall brand value for all of us, especially. Most of us will agree, especially those who are at my position and all, with 15 to 20 year experience. That there used to be NIIT, what we should call it. There used to be only two institutes, NIIT and FTech, and everybody used to have a dream to complete the certificate from the NIIT. There used to be a counselor who will say, okay, tell me which course you wanted to do it. I'm just sharing my personal experience, because I visited so many NIIT institute, wanted to understand which kind of courses. So it's good brand. Still, many people like to do the courses, and now it's a university, so it's kind of expansion. And Professor Prabhu, you talk about the learning. In the entire course of COVID, I'm sure university also learning, professor also learning, teacher also learning, and student also learning from the home, and you are teaching from the home as well. I will pass here, hand over to Jiten for opening remark now. Yes, somebody need to unmute Jiten. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm audible?
You are audible very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Ashish. Thank you, Professor Manisha. It's been pleasure with all of you. Just to touch upon what Ashish just mentioned, about 25 years ago when I did my MBA, I was remembering that what were the opportunities we all had to interact with the corporates, and they were very limited. Yes, we were doing some internships at point in time and going to some corporates for some projects, but there was very limited options for us to actually see and hear, unless really corporates were coming out to our campuses and talking to us. And here we are today that we have ample opportunities, courtesy technology. So I think just like all of you students at NIIT University and a lot more, technology has really helped all of us get closer, and you can really know, listen, learn the views from the other side. So it's I would say every one of you are very, very lucky in this time and era. So the thing with our topic of discussion today revolves a lot around in terms of how do we really help share some tips from the experiences that we've had that can really help the students or the people who are just joining the workforce right now for them to be successful. I remember somebody had mentioned to me that, every part of experience shapes our life. So we need to be very, very conscious of what we are learning in and around from people that we have in our careers, personal and professional both. So while I'm going to be talking a bit about multiple things, I want students, I know students nowadays are very smart, very switched on, very connected. But my only request still would be to just take either a pen and a paper or open your Samsung or Apple notepad and just take notes of some good things that some of the panel members here would be talking today. Because you never know, 10 things you would hear today, 2 of them just may strike in good. And those words may value add to your life. So today we are going to be talking, obviously Seema has mentioned a bit about the key competencies or behavioral indicators in terms of interpersonal skills, problem solving, communication, time management, etc. I am going to be, after Seema is done, I'm going to be adding a few of my experiences with respect to 2 sides. One is the preparation and second is the approach. So what is that, the preparation that all of you need to do in today's time? In terms from our viewpoint, when we interview young people, what do we looking for? And what is the approach that we appreciate when people are really coming up and putting their candidature forward for a particular role? So that is joining the workforce concept. The second thing which I would like to spend a bit of a time on is obviously in terms of what really makes you successful. There are multiple things that we are today working in a multi-generational workforce. You have people right from Gen X, Gen Y, baby boomers, everybody together. What are those things that you need to be mindful, we need to be mindful of, which will really help you come out of it faster and really giving you some real life experiences of what I have observed in my personal career that could be handy for some of you here. We can also touch upon, as Ashish just touched upon, a bit of a COVID thing. I know that's the reality. It's a total paradigm shift we have been thrown into. I hope, well, we have never seen a year like 2020, and I hope we never see a 2020 ever in our life in future, and neither would you or your kids see something like this. Obviously, it has its pros and cons. It's been very difficult to mankind overall, clearly speaking, but sharing a few things from our side that what have we seen in terms of skill set, in terms of what people would have done in the last 6 odd months to shine still in such difficult situations would be possibly handy for all of us to learn from. So I think it will be a combination of a bit of tips and do's and don'ts of coming into the workplace, being in the workplace, and how do we manage the difficult situation like a COVID, and the other things which will be a real success factor for all of you to be doing good in your corporate and professional career. So I have lots of content here, obviously, but in respect of time, I'll let the agenda carry on with Ashish and Manisha. And in due course of time, when the right question is asked, I would feed in the tips and things that I need to share with all of you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ashish.
So thanks, Jiten. Wonderful opening. Yes, you shared about the COVID and all. So that's one of the things I like to touch upon. We keep talking about old normal and new normal. Okay, like I got to know Professor Prabhu joined in month of, I believe before 4 months, right? Right, Professor Prabhu? So everybody on the session, he started his job from home. He will continue doing from home till situation allow. Okay. So this is how the situation. We are learning from home, we are teaching from home, we are doing everything home. While all these things happening, there are the business who are booming up. There are the new industries which are coming up. There are the new jobs which are being created. So it's all of us need to think whether we are part of it. Do we become a leader? Do we become a follower? Or we just keep saying, okay, now I can do it because of XYZ. There are various things we can do it. And would like to touch upon few things also, like Jiten was talking about COVID. If you remember before 6 months, future of work world was very famous, okay, which became now of work. Whatever has happened in last 4 months or 6 months, okay, that is actually future of work was supposed to happen after 2 years or 5 years. What was supposed to happen in 2022, 2025, which has happened, which is happening now. Some of the company, they are still supposed to do it. So it's all, how fast you can pick up, how fast you can gear up yourself. Like, gig model is already taking place. Many of the country already adopted, like Seema can share some of the input from gig model. In India, it is picking up. Many of the organizations, they are saying now our workforce is going to be 50% of gig. Now, what is gig is you can work from anywhere, anytime, with most of the assignment at one point of time. You don't need to be full-time employee. You don't need to be 9 to 5 kind of jobs. So, are we ready to do those kind of jobs? How do we project ourselves? Okay, this is the gig model. I am the gig worker, and this is Professor Manisha and all the student. Gig model may come soon for freshers also. There may not be like 9 to 5. Okay, there may be 2, 3 jobs at a time. Are you ready to do it? Which means, do you have more than one skills? If yes, then you can earn much more than what you're thinking for. You can decide what time you're working hours. Okay. At the same time, you may lose some of the thing as well. But it's all depend upon individual choice, which we always do it. Automation has taken place like anything. Digitalization, every company, even university is going for a digitalization, which was supposed to happen after 2 years. Most of the universities, they have done it. They have adopted everything related to the technology. Like the professor was saying, they are the leader in this. Virtually, we are all connected, which was again supposed to happen. So, these are the things were supposed to happen after 2 years, 5 years, which is happening now. Still, there are many things will happen after 2 or 5 years. Are we ready for this? That's what the question we need to ask ourselves. And there are various skills, digital quotient, then, okay, how do we be creative, share leadership, distributor model and all. So those things will have to be there. Let me just talk for next 30 seconds as well. Then I will hand over to Professor to just give an overview, what he's thinking about it. Most of the organizations, they are saying they have done the research that, they are more than 50% of the workforce rapidly should go for reskill, upskill. Okay, because every business is looking for different kind of technology, model, infrastructure, and logistics. Okay, so I hand over to Professor Prabhu. Sir, you talk about the university now. Please share your views on, how student, because you are working in a place, where students are part of, each and everything. You know them. And you must have created very good ecosystem, infrastructure, logistic. During the COVID, how they're ready. They will be ready after 1 year, 2 years to face the industry very well. Which are the skill set, they need to come up with, they need to develop on themselves. I have some questions for each one of you also, but after Prabhu's session, Prabhu's speech, then I will go to each one of you.
Okay, you've asked a lot of questions in very few sentences. I think, let's just keep COVID aside for 30 seconds. And I've always argued that the shelf life of technology is rapidly shrinking. And what we will teach our student today in class. Let's say we just taught in Python programming. It may not be relevant 4 years from now because some other programming language might have come up. That's just an example. With a shrinking shelf life in the tech space, for sure, technologies. I think one of the things that all students who are listening to this must remain focused on 4 or 5 what I call great life skills or work life skills. And I can largely say that they fall in one of 5 categories. One is on, I would say, thinking. Critical thinking, we have heard about this all the time. What is critical thinking and so on and so forth. Reasoning, decoding, unleashing creativity, all this is a skill that I think every student should be able to think through. Problem solving is another skill that any student who is in a university should get opportunities for sharpening his or her problem solving skills. Third, and many of you have already said this, communicating, reading, building, listening, speaking, writing, persuasive arguments, bringing people to your side. You know, those things are extremely important in the workspace. And you can be in a virtual space or you can be in a physical space, but you need these skills. These skills are going to be relevant 20 years down the line. They're relevant today, they were relevant yesterday, and they will remain relevant. Another big thing is collaboration. Anytime somebody is joining the workforce, collaboration becomes key. And collaborating, meaning working in teams, navigating workplaces, negotiating, networking, trusting, managing teams. This is the 4th critical area: collaboration, communicating, solving, thinking, and to some extent, leadership. Now, what is leadership? Leadership can start by building your own leadership skills. So, who is Prabhu? Is he a leader? And if he's a leader, is he a leader by title, or is he a leader because there are other logical issues? Leaders embrace change. Leaders practice excellence. Leaders have a defined purpose. Leaders lead themselves before they lead others. So I think so they're all soft skills that I've talked about. Leadership, collaboration, communication, if you can call them, are not hard skills, are soft skills. Problem solving and critical thinking is analytical to me, how you construct these things. So I think my first argument with all my panelists or all the listeners is that these are critical. Now, we have to do a very, very good job in the university system in order to inculcate these values. And the only way we think we can do that is critical thinking and solving is going to come when we give opportunities to students to solve unstructured problems. Communicate is by, emphasizing and having writing, reading, and language workshops across the 4 years. Collaborating is, again, group work, projects, peer-to-peer learning. And leadership is exhibited by basically what we call student-driven activities. There are various clubs where students have the opportunity to engage and demonstrate leadership. So I'm a technology-driven university, but everything I said is not technology-based, if you hear me. And I keep harping upon this, that if you are to be successful, you have to have what is called your intelligence quotient, your social quotient, and your, I don't know what else, emotional quotient in the right place. So I think, I don't know, Ashish, if I deviated from your question, because I didn't bring COVID in this conversation at all.
Yeah. No, so you touch upon very important point, 2-3 point, like the quotient, I will go one step ahead, Professor Prabhu, and I will talk about the digital quotient, which is more like virtually, how do we connect? And I will also bring up your point, which you talk about the collaboration. With the gig model coming, automation coming into picture, digitalization coming into picture, like we are talking, HR leader from Singapore and Dubai, how much we are able to collaborate virtually. That's another important point, because you have 1 student, 2 students in one part of India, some student another part of India. Now, being in the campus, it's easy to mingle with each other. how they are going to do it virtually. They still need to come up with some kind of, or many of them may be doing even how they are connecting with each other. So this is very important thing. And let's remember everybody that every company, every association, every enterprise is a technology driven. Though you may not be producing anything related to technology and digitalization, but everything is technology driven and technology oriented. So what everybody need to think from the technology point of view, that how do I create something which is more integrated, user friendly, very simple, technology driven and all. Like we always like some of the application. Why do we like? Because they are very user friendly. Yeah. Okay, I will pause here. Now start the Q&A here. So let's start now the Q&A. But before that, can I get an option to share the screen? I just like to bring up one important data. Can I share the screen? Because this data shows, okay, not yet. Okay, please activate the option to share the screen. Let me start with the question meanwhile. So here I will go to Seema. It's nothing like always ladies first, yeah, but let me put a question now. So Seema, yes, we have been talking about since last 20 minutes and all. Student and everybody, those who are in this session, they would like to know which are the sector. And when I say sector, which is more to do with the industry, which are the industry, which are the sector, according to you, will be recruiting more freshers, okay, in the COVID or perhaps more, post-COVID.
Ashish, you can try again. I think you should be able to share the screen now.
Okay, I can do that because this will also build up, good foundation for all the question and discussion. Okay, here it is. Yes. So this is just, I think, 2 or 3 month old, but there are various changes because today we cannot predict what's going to happen tomorrow, and there are various changes happening. Let's look at the data here. These are the conversion growth and decline due to COVID. These are the industry wise. Advertising, agriculture, construction, e-commerce. I will say e-commerce is booming. Okay, then we go to the energy, then we go to telecom. Telecom also booming actually. Transportation and travel. Now, which are the industry booming like anything? Food, healthcare, then media, pharma, and e-commerce also going up. Education going up because there is a lot of demand in the education sector now, whether be it student or be it corporate guy, because everybody need to learn now. Technology is also booming up because every company is technology, whether you are media, whether you are engineering, automobile, chemical and all. So this shows some data that which are the industry booming in the COVID or will be booming in the COVID. So the decline industries, if you are part of it, perhaps you will struggle more to get the job. You will struggle more to prove your capabilities. So just be sure you are part of one of the industries which is booming like anything. Perhaps after 1 month there may be some other industries which will come up with new. Yeah. Okay. So I come to Seema here. Seema, so question was that I did show I did show the data that these are the industries. According to you, according to the global exposure you have or something related to the Singapore, would you like to share that which are the sector industries booming and they will be recruiting more freshers? Can we unmute Seema?
You need to unmute Seema Balani.
Yes.
Sorry, the host was not allowing me to unmute. So just starting off with this, it's a very classic example where technology is where your focus should be. So that's just touching upon, because we are more technology focused and I'm addressing to students who are from a technology background. I think the top 5 areas where I could see growth. Now, particularly, I hire currently in the cybersecurity area. So cybersecurity has taken a major drift and shift, mainly because all of us are now working from home. We are more prone to
attacks. We are more prone to malware attacks, and continuously, your cookies are being followed in your system with you or without you knowing. Google can actually hear you and can put up ads just based on the on your speech these days. So it can be very scary sometimes, because all your data, all your areas of focus are very, very prone to malware. Now, from that perspective, of course, cybersecurity has picked up, and there are many, many new smaller boutique firms who are coming into focus and are really hiring big time. So this is, I would suggest this is a very good time to have, or move into a cybersecurity focused area where you can do certain certifications. There is a certified ethical hacker course. There is SANS certified courses. Of course, you need to take one step at a time. But I think if you start early, this will be a fantastic time to grow your career into cybersecurity. There are various other areas which are now picking up. Of course, artificial intelligence is really picking up big time. Data analysis on the other side is definitely on its way to splurging, and people are not able to find the balance between this talent and what we need from the market and what is in abundance. So data with, of course, COVID-19 pandemic forcing a large chunk of people to work from home, we've witnessed a large spike in data usage across the globe. Now, statistics do indicate that the global data usage has increased as much as 38% year on year. And with the wake of COVID pandemic, it's also gone higher. So this is the area to definitely look into job opportunities like data. The market is really opened up for data analysis, data scientists, engineers, AI engineers are definitely steadily on a growth pattern. Another area of growth is in cloud. The public cloud has emerged as a backbone of all the IT infrastructure. And even back in November 2019, Gartner had predicted that the worldwide public cloud services market would grow 17% in 2020. And according to a study, the migration of cloud is a top priority. So there are multiple players in the market. You can pick up any particular course in Azure or Google Cloud. Some of the programs are also free from these companies, and we can definitely see a greater demand for cloud architects and cloud IT administrators going forward. Last but not the least, there is digital marketing, which is really come into focus. With more people consuming information online, digital marketing has picked a lifeline for the e-commerce providers as they seek to reduce the marketing spends and drive greater ROI from their marketing dollars. So digital marketing will be a great demand in the future. So I think these 5 areas are definitely a must go for anyone who is looking to splurge into technology.
Thank you, Seema. Thank you so much. So what is coming around all the way is, data. Everything will be important, and, data will be the new oil in the coming time, and still it is actually, see, we deal with so much of data around. Do we have capabilities to analyze the data? Do we have capability to convert the data into knowledge? That's one of the skills is very critical, Everything is related to data. Our manager keeps saying, okay, show me the data, show me the report. All is coming, they take the decision based on the data. Okay, so I go to the Jiten here. Jiten, Seema talked about, all this 6-7 areas she touch upon: the digital marketing, then data analytics, and then cyber security and all. Would you like to share some of the great tips which will be kind of additional suggestion, I would say, strategy to get the job? While everybody might be having knowledge and all, but how to get the job is another important thing we need to touch upon.
Great. Thank you, Ashish. Thanks a lot, Seema, for sharing this information. And I'm sure it's very handy for students to actually know the industries and the job roles that they may be targeting. I would like to touch upon that. Let's say if there are 100 people applying for this beautiful data scientist job or an AI or a cloud computing, how do you set yourself apart? How do you really single yourself out as an application or as a candidate? So I think the first and the foremost thing is having the right attitude. I mean, it could be attitude of continuous trying, as both Professor Prabhu and Ashish have highlighted. It's COVID, it's difficult times. Jobs are at risk, industries are declining. So there may be a slight possibility that even if the gig workforce comes into play, and it may take some time in some industries and some sectors, there may be a slight delay. And I think it's all about perseverance. It's all about the intent and the attitude of not giving up and continuously trying to find the right job and motivating yourself. So I think that's the foremost thing that all the students who are coming into the job market need to keep themselves in mind. It is difficult, but I think one needs to be patient and obviously continue trying. Second is obviously about how do you set yourself different, or what's your USP. I think it's from both from a preparation perspective as well as from an approach perspective. So I'll give you some examples in terms of preparation. I have of lately seen a lot of data scientists or people who have been to digital marketing have created very beautiful CVs, and then the profiles are amazing when I look at them, like, very visual, amazing one-pager. And if I look at it, I really get excited and I want to call this candidate in for a meeting. Now, you need to be mindful of one thing, that a lot of small to medium, or let's say medium to big size companies are having something called as ATS, which at times may not scan your application if your application doesn't fit into the ATS system's compatibility. And so you need to do a bit of a research in terms of how fancy do you really wish to go with your CV so that it passes through. Because imagine you put a job on LinkedIn, in 1 hour flat, you have 1,000 applications coming in. There's an ATS system sitting at the back, which is obviously sorting the application onto its keywords and based on the compatibility of what fits into ATS. So you may have great content, but at the same point in time, if your CV is not passable, if not compatible with ATS, it just may not go through. So do some research. That's my suggestion of putting that enriched content in a way that it goes through the process. The second is obviously nowadays I have come across a lot of new partners and vendors. I mean, I think the panel touched upon already the artificial intelligence and data mining. So there are a lot of these companies which are doing now video interviews. There's a robot sitting at the backside and actually sending you an interview, and you have, let's say, a question pops up on your screen and you have 1 or 1.5 minutes to answer for that question. And actually what the robot is looking for sometimes is the way I'm speaking, the way I am, the way my facial expressions are, the way my tone is. They check for your nervousness, they check for your confidence, they check for your eye tone, the movements, the pitch and the tone of your voice. And then they would actually shortlist people. So there are two things which may happen. If you're going through a video interview process, there is a possibility that a recorded interview may actually go down to somebody real, either a hiring manager or a recruiter, who will actually look at the way you are speaking and delivering your interview to actually help you shortlist. At times, there just may be a robotic interference which is doing the same thing. So again, you need to be very, very concise and precise. And how do you get better at it? I mean, easier said than done. It's obviously practice. You and I have read it. Practice makes a man perfect. When I say man, it's gender neutral, man and women both, obviously. So it's all about practicing. The more you practice your 30-second elevator pitch on a video interview, practice it 10 times, show it to your friends, have a critique, ensure that you get it right, because at the end of the day, this is a big decision that you're trying to put for your own self, for your own career. So there is merit in spending time towards your own personal selection at this point in time. The other thing which Seema beautifully touched on was behavioral questioning, which In some terms, we call them competency-based interviews. So the general competencies which even Professor talked and Ashish touched on about collaboration, innovation, leadership, excellence, achievement orientation, problem solving, etc. You can go on Google today and just write competency-based interviewing questions. You will get loads of questions there, and you have enough material today. As I said, you guys are very lucky. You have loads of material out there to take a hint on. Obviously, you must be great in your technical expertise, but when it really comes to cracking that interview among those 50 or 100 people who are eyeing for the same job, then as Professor rightfully said, that they're looking for your interpersonal skills, your leadership skills, your communication, your influencing, and multiple of other soft and analytical capability skills that will actually help you set apart. And how do you see yourself set apart? Is by practicing, is by researching, is by ensuring that you are good in how you're delivering your content. And that's what is going to set you apart. And I'll give you a very small tip on that one. There is something called a STAR model. Again, if you Google it, STAR, it's situation, task, action, result. What was the situation? What was the task given to you? What did you do? That's your action. And what was the result? If you are framing your answer in a STAR format, in a competency-based interview assessment in front of a hiring manager, there is a much greater chance that you may get through better than the others who may not be as prepared as you may be. So it's all about how well you prepare your own self with respect to these things. So this is all about preparation. And obviously, I think everybody is pretty socially connected. Everybody has Facebook, Instagram, a LinkedIn connection nowadays. It's about networking. It's about getting in touch with the right set of people. It's about researching the company. I'll give you a live example. Last week, I interviewed somebody, a young lady who came in for an interview with about 2 years of experience. And when I asked you, what do you know about our company? I did not get the confidence that the lady has done enough research to actually check what we do, which was not very exciting for me. So it is such a very basic thing, but it's all about preparation. It's all about your intention and your, really your interest in getting a job. These may be very small things, but all of these things matter a lot. I mean, how do you really go and relate yourself to the values of the company? You look up the company people, you look up what the company is doing in terms of CSR activities, plug in some of your answers with the way the questioner is wanting to look at from you. And it just sparks a bulb, and they say, I like you. At the end of the day, what matters is that fine. You know which industries are getting hired from. You know which roles are you getting picked up. You have the technical qualification expertise. Now you're preparing yourself very well with respect to all the competency-based interviewing skills and the questioning you may come across. What really sets you apart is these little things which, when you create a positive impression, end of the day, the interview has to feel like, I like this person. I think this person would be a great fit for my organization. And I think these kind of things will really make an impact in ensuring that you stand a better chance than anybody else. So, I mean, that's my 2 bits of pieces from my experience. Ashish, if I'm not overshot my time and answered the question.
No, thanks, Jiten. So that was, many tips from you, fine, okay, these are the jobs available, but how to go for it, get the favorite job is most critical thing. Networking is one of the thing, is going to be boom like anything. I can give one example. We are on Zoom. While the networking in the physical way, if you're attending any meeting and all, you may not be knowing each other. You may not be knowing the guy sitting in the corner, but on the Zoom, you can see this person name is XYZ. If you are in a corporate session, corporate training session, or corporate HR session, then how many people are there. You can easily connect with them. So it gives easily data take who's there. Then people by name, even you can see their face online as well. So there is a one thing, job will not be lost. We keep talking about the job losses, but job losses not going to take place. There will be a new role which will be coming up. So for that, how do we learn, unlearn, relearn? Seema and Jiten talk about the knowledge, skills, attitude, and competency. Those are things very much important. More than that, what is important, that how do we showcase when opportunity is given? That kind of energy, someone need to have it, everyone need to have it in case wherever you are there. And competition is everywhere. How do we figure out, okay, you know, you are one of them, but not, you are not one of them, but you are the one company is looking for. There is a one place, Professor Monisha and all the students, there is a less competition, is the entrepreneurship. Go for it. You know, there is less competition over there. Yeah. Professor, I have a very good question to you because you covered most of the point of my first question. I will come to second question. So there is a question there. You know, I'm sure a student may be feeling over comfortable or not very much comfortable, you know, and most of them will have proper infrastructure. Some of them may not have. This depend upon, you know, how people stay, where they stay, and depend upon, you know, joint family or XYZ. And at the same time, I like you to touch upon the teachers also. See, we keep talking about the student. Are we talking about the teachers also? At the time, we also need to train them better than even a student. Okay, they are able to teach all the students. So what's your views on this? How the university and college institute, they are gearing up to meet the challenges of the virtual preparation from the all point of view?
Thanks, Ashish, for your question. Difficult situations, unprecedented situations. Most faculty, you know, you said online teaching, online courses will come 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, whatever, you know, but it's come upon us now. We have, our hand has been forced. We don't have a choice. We have very robust technology platforms, by the way. And I don't think technology ever was the problem. The technology was there to facilitate online teaching learning. But what we have found in our very limited 6 months now, 4 months of work that we have migrated to online learning teaching, is that it is not about a student sitting in front of a Zoom camera and a teacher on the other side delivering his classroom like he's in a classroom. It does not work. So a lot of experimentation is happening on faculty development. As I already alluded to, at NU, we were in a privileged space because of the NIIT legacy in terms of our work in the space of, education technology, right? We were in that space. So we have a department of education technology. We have some very eminent people who are working on this. We have 5 or 6 PhD scholars who are working on this. We have a lot of data. Somebody said data. We have a lot of data now for the last 4 months that is being analyzed. We are constantly working with our students to understand where they are. But you know, I mean, online teaching and learning, right? I mean, first question is attendance. How many people are attending? But attendance doesn't mean anything. Attendance, then what? Attendance is multiplied by attention. Attention multiplied by content, by, you know, we are right now probably at 15-20% of, if at all, in terms of what a physical classroom space might look like. And we are asking our faculty to do a lot who have never ever been trained to teach like this. So flipped classroom models are there. Models where there's asynchronous teaching, models where there are doubt clearing sessions. So all experimentations are going on. Material is available. It has never been a problem. Some of the world's top universities have put all their courses online. You can go and learn. And this is not a phenomena that was COVID driven. This phenomena was there 10 years ago, something called MOOC, massive open online courses. But the problem was the students' completion rates were in minuscule numbers. So what I'm trying to say is that this is a evolving challenge, and it is continuously being looked at NU, being addressed in the best possible way that it can be done. But I don't think online education is a replacement for the actual physical classroom experience, but it is the best we can do right now. We are constantly evolving and working very hard. At least at NU, we are taking this problem very seriously. We're also taking the behavioral issues, social issues that the students are facing in terms of behavioral problems, anxiety issues, very, very seriously. So while we are talking about technology, we should also equally emphasize that the psychological impact of what is happening is also prominently getting impacted in a large sense. So we are very proactively addressing the issue. Are we anywhere close to where we want to be? Absolutely not. But we are not just ticking the box saying the student has, I had to do 20 hours of lectures, therefore 21-hour lectures are done. Huge issues. Pedagogy, right? Curriculum, pedagogy, and assessments. These are the three main areas when it comes to education. Curricula is what needs to be covered, synchronously, what needs to be covered asynchronously. Pedagogy, how do I teach? Do I teach in a flipped classroom, group discussion, students come prepared, have read the material, there is simply a doubt clearing session. And lastly, the most important piece is assessments. Everything that we have done in India, especially, and worldwide for sure, is our curricula is all based on assessments. We have to, if you are a school student, you have to clear those dreaded board exams, and everything is geared towards that. Today, assessments are more geared towards learning outcomes. At least that's what we are doing at NU. So we have a very renowned professor, Professor Sugata Mitra, who some of you may have known, but he won the TEDx International Speaker Award in 2013. And he's leading our, what we call Educatomics series. And we are doing a series of webinars that highlight some of the thought-provoking questions that Dr. Mitra is asking us, and we are asking the world to think about, asking the education world. I mean, it's interesting if you look at all the sponsors today, the big sponsors on IPL, which is going on right now, are all edtech companies. Baiju, Upgrad, Unacademy. Suddenly, right? So money is getting poured into this space. Who knows what the outcomes are going to be? But those are the three biggest sponsors today of the IPL tournament, are all edtech companies. Gone are the FMCGs, gone are the whatevers.
That's very much true. As I said, new role will be created, new player will be coming. And it remind me, Professor, thank you for very beautiful, analogy and all the input which you had given. So all the students, please remember, it's not only you who are impacted, everyone, each one of us. And student can learn very fast as compared to, the staff and teachers, okay? So everybody's, I won't say they are facing problem, but everybody is, trying to do their best. PM, Chief Minister, all the bureaucrats, celebrity, you name it, they are working from home, right? Yeah, we are seeing the IPL without a stadium audience, right? KBC audition happening without physical presence. So there are various changes happening. Are we part of it? Okay. If yes, then you are the guy. Somebody is looking for. Elevator pitch time being reduced because of the virtual presence. Earlier it used to be, I don't know how much Jiten and Seema, but I think, 7 minutes. It is being reduced to, I think, 2 to 3 minutes. Being a virtually, are you able to impress within the 1 or 2 minutes or not? Another data said, it was future of work data, but now it is being more connected. In the next 5 or 10 years, you will change your career 15 to 20 times. Degree will not be matter at all. Only because if you are able to reskill, upskill, those are the things. And Professor, you talk about the attendance and attention. On a funny note, I would like to say those who don't switch off their video, they are the backbencher, right? I have seen some of the teachers, they say, okay, switch, off your video, switch on your video. So that's how the people take the attendance, you know. My daughter, she's 9 years old. She's learning from home, and she's missing beautiful point of her career, her life. It's the same way like a student missing, you know. They could have been the campus today, mingling up with each other and all. Hybrid model will work. I'm sure you know that will work. Okay, so I think we are on the dot time. I will stop here and let's just take some question, Monisha. We are 6:15, 15 minutes. We can keep it for question from delegates.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I think it'll be a good idea for everybody who has questions to put it on the chat window on the right side of your screen. We've got 1 or 2 questions already, but I see some of them have already been answered during this conversation. I'm requesting everybody to please put questions on the right side of your screen on the chat box so that we can take those on.
By the time we get the question, I like to touch upon one of the thing and wanted some views from Jiten, Seema, and Professor very quickly. Now, no need to go to overseas for any education, any session, and all. It's all available on the click of the button. Even right now, if you go to Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube and just type live session, you'll get multiple live session going on with the domestic, with the overseas and all. What's your views, Ani? How much are we able to actually learn on our own? Learning on own will be another thing which will take place in the gig model workforce, where company will not say, okay, I will give you 3 months of training, right? In the gig model, are you ready from day one right now? Seema and Jiten, you must have seen the gig model workforce in your country. Would you like to share something?
So I think, sorry, Seema, you want to go first?
You go first.
So what we have seen in the last about 6 odd months, there has been, and I'm sorry to say, a bit of an overdose of these live sessions and the webinars. And to some extent, yes, they are helpful. I mean, it all depends on what's your own personal criteria of learning and growth. I have seen employees who at their own will have taken up these courses, have taken sessions and have come and shared. I mean, I can give you a beautiful example. By the way, it's one of the initiatives that we have a head of talent, Mr. Samir, in our organization. He launched a cafe session, which is actually subject matter expertise, sharing their whatever they're good at. And over the last 6 months, we have at least had more than 4 or 5 sessions wherein people have come and shared what they have learned at workplace, as well as from these multiple learning opportunities that they've had, whether they're free MOOCs, which Professor Aggarwal just mentioned, or the courses that we have given to all the people, and some of them did access them. So yes, it all depends on your personal ability and aspiration of what you want to learn and which direction would you like to go. You can't be doing everything at all given point in time, and obviously there is just too much content out there available. As Professor rightfully said, I mean, 10 years back also MOOCs were available, and a Coursera or even a Harvard Managed Mentor would give you 40 or free online courses. There were not even less than 2 or 3% people on an average in an organization taking these courses. Obviously, that person has increased now, which is for good actually. But at the same point in time, I think we need to balance it. We need to balance with the applicability of what people actually learn, and how can they be given an opportunity to either share that information with more people or apply it at workplace. So I think fair in terms of the content, but from our side, we need to create an ecosystem in the organization that can really help implement those learnings. So these are a few of my bits of pieces. Over to you, Seema, if you would like to share.
Sure. I'll just like to add a little bit more. So we do have content e-learning platform, which we thankfully implemented just before the COVID came in. So we moved into a platform called Decreed, wherein we are, there is a lot of learning available, a lot of material available, and you can choose the skill sets that you want to learn. So it's not necessary that plan A of learning would be equal to plan B of learning. So it really depends on what you want to learn. And on a click of a button, you have the access and resources available.
what we are also doing is when we are having learning sessions, we are actually recording them and putting them on Degreed. So what happens is when you want to go through the session again, you don't have to ping anyone. You just have to go click that link, see what was taught in that session. You can see it twice, thrice, as many number of times as you want till you actually pick it up. So that, I think that is a great movement which we did from a skills perspective. There is also external courses which are available from a technology point of view, which is on Udemy. It's called UDEMY if you students want to make note of it. There are a lot of courses available which are actually, the basic courses are free of cost. So all you need to do is just invest your time and build on your skills that you really have interest into. There are some courses, of course, which are also paid depending on the the capacity that you want to learn. But these are some areas where you would want to invest your time and and build your skill sets before you are ready to go on this post-COVID market, because this is definitely going to open up the market, and there's a lot of, again, emphasizing on the digital skills which are definitely going to come up, and your skill sets will be very, very valued in the market. So these are some areas where you could build up your skills. Second area is, as our panelists have already touched upon, but there's another skill set where we find a lot of people failing in their final assessments, which is on the video interviewing. Now, with COVID, of course, there is a lot of technical platforms that we have built, wherein the bot is actually shooting questions at you, a technical question at you, and you are recording yourself and answering. So there is nobody in front of you, or nobody is assessing you at that point of time or interacting with you. But what you're doing is just replying back to a bot. So where we feel is, of course, you know your content, but when you're looking at yourself in the video and you are answering yourself, it becomes a bit odd because you're not used to, accustomed to this kind of a video session. So what you can do is actually practice and record yourself before you go for your interviews. This will really help you big time to acknowledge yourself and know how you're presenting yourself. So these are some good learning areas that you could work on.
Yeah, you said it rightly, Seema. Practice. It's easy to do the practice. Pick up the phone, like we take the selfie, start your video. Not more than that, even there is one good friend of mine, and that person had a bad habit to talk to the people always. Now COVID came. Now person was thinking, okay, whom should I talk? So what that person started doing is Instagram channel and YouTube channel, getting people twice in a week and just talking to them randomly, and obviously when you are there on the social media, you get a lot of friends around the world and all this. So that person is more engaged actually now and making so many friends. So these are the tools people are using. Good. I got the question here. So there is a question. I have done the MCA. So am I applicable for data scientist MBA? I'm working for E&Y right now. Am I able to read the question completely? Because it says I have done MCA. Am I applicable for data scientist MBA? If it is education, yes, you can go for it. Anybody just like to understand this question?
Ashish, he must be referring to one of our industry-sponsored programs. So yes, applications will be opening up, and Omkar, I'm requesting you to kindly keep a tab on the website. If you can share your number, we'll be happy to reach out to you and share not only the eligibility criteria, but details of the admission process. Ashish, can't hear you.
Okay, so here a question coming from Prabhu Aggarwal now. Everybody's talking about technology-driven world in the post-COVID. So what are the career opportunity for a student who don't have technology background? Yes, we talk about it, but yeah, I will let Jiten and Seema to answer it, and Professor can also chip in. Like he further added, like I am economic graduate right now pursuing MBA in business economics. Good. So what are the opportunity that would be available for him in upcoming month? So let me repeat so that you are able to understand properly. So he is saying we are talking about the technology driven world. What are the career opportunity for the student freshers who don't have technology background? Yeah, like maybe engineering degree and all this he's talking about. And he's from he's economic graduate pursuing MBA economics. So what is the opportunity for him?
So I think I mean, if you look at the makeup of any organization, even if it's a tech organization or a non-tech organization, there are multiple levers and wheels that drive the organization. Technology is one of the key enablers, no doubt about it, but there are so many other departments that a person can go and excel himself or herself in. I mean, if this gentleman is doing something with economics and finance, there is definitely ample opportunities in financial planning, analysis, economics background. Companies are doing various modeling right now, and there are a lot of data inputs which are happening, which is feeding the technologists to make the right key decisions. So it's about finding what sort of organizations and career growth the person would be wanting to explore, and then going and figuring it out as to what suits best to his or her interest. Obviously, it all depends. At times we do one specific qualification, and 5 years down the line, we end up doing something else because we have been interacting with somebody else in another department, and we tend to enjoy that work, and we complement whatever we have learned in our previous knowledge, qualification, academics, and departments to the new place where we go into, and you can actually become a good generalist. I mean, I've seen so many people who are getting into an entrepreneurship model, even if they are not techie by themselves, but they know how a business model works, and they can employ great people with them, partners with them, to actually make a big living and a big startup. Have been successful. Not all of them are techie startups, with all due respect. So I think it's all about finding what interests this person and what kind of organization would this person be targeting for.
I'd just like to add to this. Economics definitely is a very intense subject, and of course, it involves a lot of analysis. You can also look at options like investment analysis, which is picking up big time. A lot of banks and financial institutions are actually looking for economists who have great understanding of what's going on in the market and how you can pick up this data and help these companies to actually articulate and come up with forecasting. So this could be a great career opportunity for you. Again, learning will never stop. You have to put emphasis on the area after where you want to implement this curriculum that you have learned and how you want to implement it in real life. There is also great analysis jobs within the sales analysis space. So a lot of these banks, financial institutions, and even companies like Bloomberg and Reuters, they actually look for economists who have this analysis background, and you can make great careers with them by forecasting. So you can look at those kind of companies as well.
And just to add to the discussion, I think as we were talking about all the opportunities in the technology space, but as you grow in your organization, that focus on technology will continuously become less relevant for you to take on increasing responsibilities in an organization. You may have to get into manufacturing, operations, sales, marketing, econ, finance, investment, strategy, entrepreneurship, HR. So you will find that a lot of students will start off their careers by joining a technology line and 2-3 years of a core technology function, but then would leave out of there and to join an MBA program typically, where the focus shifts from pure technology to a more general management degree, or a a specialized degree in finance, in econ, in. So I think I'm responding to the students saying that there are tremendous amount of opportunities, whether it's econ, finance, HR, supply chain, operations. But one of the, but all these traditional areas are also getting impacted by data and how data is being used. HR analytics, we all know. So, it's HR is not what it used to be 20 years ago, just as an example. So analytics is going to, and data will continue to drive decision making in organizations. And, so just my two cents worth.
We have a question here from Ranjan Kumar Panda, and I'm guessing this is a teacher or a principal from one of the schools. Professor Aggarwal, since you're an educator yourself and you teach class, it will be very nice if we could get your perspective on this question. So Ranjan is asking, in this tight life schedule, children are suffering a lot mentally due to confinement to the home and less direct interaction with teachers. Guide us how to handle them properly.
All right, I will put a disclaimer. My name is Prabhu, but I'm really not God. It's a very perplexing problem, honestly. And just to give you a very personal touch to this question, my son is 12 years old, and I've noticed now how his social health is deteriorating with online learning. There's a remarkable impact on him in learning from home, just because of the lack of social interactions, lack of networking, this physical space that a 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 12-year-old needs. So to the teacher, and can you repeat the question, Manisha, because I digressed. Just what was the specific question the teacher asked? So how can I guide?
Children are suffering a lot mentally due to confinement to home and less direct interaction with teachers. Please guide us how to handle that properly. So pretty generic, yes.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I'll give you, and I'm not speaking as an educationist right now, because I am not geared or don't feel qualified to answer this question. I think I would rather have a child psychologist and somebody working in this area of education psychology answer this question. But as a parent, I will tell you, I'm dealing with this at a very personal level. I'm being very cognizant. I'm having a lot of dialogues with my kid. I'm giving him a lot of space to explore. I'm telling him that if he's not up to it, it's okay. I'm letting him get out, and I'm letting him do things differently. But outside of that, again, Mr. Tandon, I'm not qualified to tell you how to. I'm just seeing a whole generation of students right now from being impacted. And I don't think this is going away for a year or 2 years, by the way. So let's just be very cognizant of this,
Prabhu and Manisha, I can add something,
Yeah.
See, as a corporate and Professor Prabhu, you must have experience, we are saying new normal. Okay, to large extent, I say this is the normal we were looking for actually. What was happening before 6 months, and this is question to everyone. We were not getting a time for a social life. We were not getting a time to do our own activity. Today we have time, right? Travel time being reduced, people not traveling, whether inside or outside. So it's actually all come to the self-discipline. Yes, there are the generation who need to be taken care, and that cannot be done overnight. It has to be taken, slowly and all. But there are some student, Professor Prabhu and everyone, they are able to adopt so fast, and they have taken it digitally very positively, and they are making a huge impact on the personal learning as well as social learning and other things. Because there is one place where a lot of data, knowledge, information available is only the social media, is only the virtual, is only the digital content. Now it's up to us actually, how do we ensure that we take the benefit out of it or we just say, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah, and that's what I'm also saying, right? That there has to be a lot of research and data to support what are best practices right now. I mean, you know, everybody says, if you remember before pre-COVID, minimize the time your child is in front of the screen. And now what are we doing? They are on screen for 10 hours a day minimum. And every parent has given up this idea of monitoring child's screen time. But nobody knows. Nobody knows. Anybody who's claiming that, and I'm sure a lot of research will get published in a year or two, because they're worldwide, this is an issue. This is not India, this is not Singapore, this is not Dubai, this is not UAE, this is worldwide. Everybody is in the same place. And we have to look out for this research, right? I mean, we don't talk to our child anymore and say, don't be on the screen, right? And all their social interactions are on screen now. They are in, you know, they're chatting in WhatsApp groups. So that's the only interaction left for them. So what impact is it having on them is to me just as I'm as curious to find answers to this than the person who asked the question. I'm equally curious to figure this out.
There is another analogy I like to relate. Earlier, video interview used to be considered as a fake interview, dummy interview. Right? Remember, I mean, before 2 to 3 years, Jiten, Seema, video interview. No, it must be fake. It must be fake, right?
Correct.
Today, those are considered actually as the step stone, the foundation, is the entry point. Okay, I will pause here. Monisha, let's take more questions. I have something in lineup, but
Ashish, yes, definitely. I think we're also getting closer to the closing time. So there's one very important and interesting question that's come in from Puneet in the audience, who's talking about the gap, which is gap between the education system and the current employability world. So considering that we have, you know, two of our panelists from the industry, from the corporate, and of course, Professor Aggarwal from the education side of it, I think it'll be lovely to get some brief comments on this from them. So the question is, what is the discrepancy or the gap between our education system and the current employment world? I think he's also referring to the employability gaps that you see when you hire fresh candidates.
So I'll just take that one. What we are seeing is definitely there is a shift in terms of what we were looking to hire pre-COVID and what we are hiring right now post-COVID. Again, I think the main area of focus should be the area that you want to pursue, and you should have the right skill sets and the right attitude to take up that role. Most of what we see in freshers is like, okay, you give me whatever you want me to do and I will take it up. And that's not what we are looking for, really. We are looking for somebody who comes in and says, I have the potential, I have the background, I have the understanding, I have the communication skills, I have the ability to take up this. And we are looking for people who are hungry to take up a new role, or a person from a fresh background should have the creativity that we're looking for. Most of them, I can see, probably have the technical skill sets. They're probably great coders. They're basically great at analysis. But when it comes to, again, putting emphasis on behavioral skills, we see a lot of gaps in there. And unfortunately, people with better communication skills are taking away the roles. So again, a good emphasis should be put on improving your core skill sets, and you would probably get that opportunity that you don't want to lose, right? Especially when people are competing, hundreds of people are competing for the same role and the opportunity. This is the time for you to prove yourself one step forward. In terms of gaps, again, I had highlighted 5 areas in the
technology space, if that is of interest, please do take courses and fill that gap, because we are scarce out here. We are in cybersecurity. If you just Google it up and see, there is scarcity of resources. Uh, uh, Companies are really emerging up, and a lot of opportunities are there in the market. So all you need to do is bring up your skill sets to the core area of requirement. It's always about supply and demand.
So this is very favorite question and always keep getting Monisha and everyone. See, let's be realistic. We all know what company is looking for. Okay, there are 5 or 6, 7 skill set they always look for. Don't we know before going for interview? Okay, we all know that, right? Recruiter, interviewer, they know what they look for. You as a candidate, you as a student also know okay, what you should present yourself. If you are able to prepare yourself properly, do that. The only thing, university, institute, college, they don't teach the practical thing, but many of them actually started doing this, and to large extent, most of the corporation companies, they are not focusing much on the educational degree from XYZ university. What they look for, okay, I'm asking you one question, are you able to answer properly or not?
I think just to add one small point here is that students who are still looking out for jobs, and if there is a bit of a gap in terms of while they find the right job, there could be still opportunities, and I'm sure some of them would be doing it, is to do a bit of a community service and try and relate to whatever experience you gain from doing some free services in and around, whether it is your friend's father's company, whether it is a community event, whether it's an NGO. If we try to do something, I mean, I've come across 1 or 2 people, not many, but 1 or 2 who have actually given me examples in an interviewing session that they didn't have real work experience, but the way they solved a particular problem while working for this community told me a lot about what kind of a person is this, how much initiative the person was driven to do, how much learning did this person have while doing this community experience. And that really helped me figure out that, fine, and this could be somebody who potentially can fit the bill, even if he's technically not the smartest in the room. So obviously there is this element of a gap between academia and corporate, which I think is getting bridged slowly. And the credit goes to academia for that, clearly. But I think that's a long journey to cover, and it will still take some time, because academia, as Professor rightfully said, is the assessments are done. Now they are moving towards result outcome based. But earlier they were all like, I read a book, I have a syllabus, and I have to go and pass a test. So, we are much better right now. Obviously, it will take some more time for us to reach at that level wherein they are, kind of pseudo mirroring each other, and students are more prepared for the corporate world.
Jiten, you rightly said, I like to again, focus and re-emphasize on that. Any recruiter, any interview will ask, whatever you have done it, okay, are you able to answer those things or not? Basic has to be very clear. Basic has to be very clear. Fundamental has to be very clear as far as the student is concerned. I, as an experienced guy, may not be looking for, okay, can you prepare a good project roadmap or not? No. Okay, but are you able to answer anything from the basic point of view or not? Because company will take care of the learning, training and all.
Thank you so much, Ashish. I think we also had a similar question from Bharat Reddy and Ayush Zala from the audience, which was talking about the future of a BTech program, specifically in computer science. So I hope, they've been able to get their answer from what our panelists are saying. And with that, I think we are at the end of the session. There's just one last question. And this is again from Ranjan Kumar Panda, who I'm guessing is an educator, who's asking, some of our time, our energy level goes in a negative way and not motivated. What are the methods to overcome and be focused? I'm guessing he's referring to staying at home and being able to maintain high energy levels. So if that could be quick closing comments from our panelists, it will be wonderful.
So I just have one pointer here. initially when the lockdown happened, it was very difficult to control your mind, and you always want to go to that Netflix button and you want to watch your favorite serial, or you want to connect socially and look at people you've lost contact with for so many years to see how they're doing. It's very, very normal emotionally and mentally to get driven into these areas, definitely out of you get out of focus. But where I would suggest is there are a lot of interesting topics out there on YouTube. There are a lot of TEDx talks. There are a lot of component and contents out there. There are speaker from top 30 Forbes. If you follow that, there is a lot of powerful content which will keep you motivated and positive about the way you think and the way your perspective is about things at the moment. So that one thing is to discipline yourself and give time to areas where you can develop yourself. Second area is also looking at ebooks. There is a lot of audiobooks available. There are a lot of content available online that you could hear rather than read these days, which is making it life even more easier because we came with an era where we had to turn pages and bookmark it, but it's no more. You can actually make someone read your books for you. So just positively inculcate those good habits to learn more. That would be my comments.
Thank you, Seema.
Yeah. Just to add myself, I mean, what I've noticed is that get in a routine, number one. I mean, if, start defining a routine for yourself. So in the mornings, there's a routine. If you get into a routine, take time out for yourself, do some physical activity, walk. It could be as simple as walking. It is an excellent exercise, 20 minutes of that. Take a lunch break. Don't take meetings from 1:30 to 2:30, for example. Just define a lunch break. Give yourself me time, whatever that means to you, me time. Maybe, don't take work meetings on Sundays if you have the control over your life. So there are some things that I have started doing that has really helped me. And meditation, yoga, those are all, many of these things are in the brain and in the head for sure. But that me time, the morning routine is very important. Try to get up at a certain time, try to go to sleep at a certain time. That routine will help you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Professor Agarwal.
I can pitch in and then Jiten can also close. Okay, in the job search, there is one statement, if you're looking for a change, and if you're not getting something, you change the way you are looking for. Yeah, so go back to drawing board and reset the priorities, reset, what was your plan, schedule and all. Self-discipline, Seema and Professor already talked about it. Don't think too much, okay, go with the flow, but make sure you are flexible to get out from a comfortable zone. That's what very much important. Find out the spark. Everybody has a one or two quality which are the best. Okay, are you making best of that or not? Stop doubting yourself, dream big. Okay, somewhere you reach up to that level, obviously, and just keep focusing. These are the very, I would say, not very hard moment. As I said, everybody is working from home. Everybody is trying to adjust, their own schedule and all. You are also one of them. Okay, don't lose any hope. This time will go away, and we'll come back to the normal, new normal, old normal. I don't know what we can call it after a few months. Over to you, Jiten.
So I think just to sum it up, everybody has said the crux is be a better version of yourself. Am I better than yesterday? Is tomorrow going to be better than today or not? And I think it all starts from, there are different levels of leadership as I've read and you would come across. It all starts with personal leadership. And there was this acronym that I still remember is NDA. You notice something, you decide that you have to do it, and you act on it. So it all depends on your NDA, as in your own personal life. If you want to upskill yourself from a personal leadership standpoint, even if you're looking for a job today, you're still, intrinsically motivated to be a better version of yourself. Remember NDA. And with this, I think all the very best to all the budding new entrepreneurs and startup mindsets, the geeks, the nerds who are going to make it big, and then the people who are going to be successful. And I hope this panel has added at least some percentage of wisdom to your rest of your professional career. So wishing everybody all the very best.
Thank you, Jiten. Thank you, Seema. Thank you, Ashish, for making this a very interesting panel. And I, again, want to thank all the participants and their questions. And as Jiten said, hopefully we made a little difference in your lives. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.